In this video, we're going to show you to install the rear lower forward control arm on your RAV4 located in your rear suspension. Using a 21mm socket, go ahead and loosen and remove your lug nuts. On our particular vehicle, it has a locking key. I'm going to go ahead and loosen and remove that one first. Now, if your vehicle has the center cap, you can do this without removing the center cap. Ours is missing. Once the lug nuts are removed, go ahead and remove the wheel and set it aside. Using a 17mm socket, we're going to loosen this nut. On the other side, we're going to hold the bolt using a 17mm wrench. So we got our wrench on the back here, and it's stuck on the back. We kind of set it so that it would kind of auto lock itself. And we put a breaker bar up here with our 17mm socket. And we're going to loosen the nut. Now, we did apply some heat to this to try and loosen this. Seems to be spinning okay now, so we're going to switch over to our impact gun. I'm going to thread that on just a little bit. Let's see if we can tap on this. Here we go. Want to be careful not to damage the nut or the threads on the stud. At this point, we can just get our wrench behind the other side here and try and work that bolt out. Now we're just working this bolt in and out. We put some rust penetrant on here to try and help get this bolt out. There it is. Now that we got our bolt out, you can see all the corrosion and buildup on this bolt that was causing the resistance of trying to get this control arm separated here. So we're just going to drop that down. We're going to go ahead and run this bolt through the wire wheel machine and get this prepared to reinstall. Now, in order to access the nut on the backside, you kind of have to get it on the back side of the shock. We're going to use a swivel. It's just the right size. If you're running a shallow, it's going to be too short. And if you're running deep, it's too long. It's going to come too close to the control arm. And an extension, I'm going to come right over the top of the lower control arm. I'm going to loosen and remove that nut. Now what we want to do is to separate this here. I'm going to strike right here to loosen this ball joint. There you have it. Now that we have the original part off, we need to get a base setting because the new replacement part is adjustable. We're going to start by removing our protective plastic cap here for the rubber boot. Do not install it with that cap, so toss that aside. I'm going to go ahead and throw the nut back on here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use a tape measure. This is just to set a preliminary setting for this. Once this is all done, you need to have the vehicle properly aligned. Now what we're going to do is we're going to measure from the center of this eyelet here. I'm going to come over and we want to get a general center. I'm going to mark it, a little dot in the center of this ball joint unit here. Tape measure measurement here. And we are at 10 3/8. With this one here, you want to go ahead and loosen these two nuts using a 22mm. That way there, be able to adjust this. And if you want, go ahead and pop a center into that cap right there. I'm just using a Sharpie marker, not a big deal. And then let's see where we're at. We are at 10 1/8. So I need to go ahead and adjust accordingly. Now remember, it doesn't have to be perfect, but we can do the best we can to get it so it goes straight down the road for now. 10 3/8. I'm going to spin that nut down. I'm just going to snug that by hand loosely. That should hold it in place for us. Remove that nut. And let's go ahead and install our unit. Go to remove the nut. And slide that on over. You don't want to compress that on there. I'm going to try using our impact gun with an extension to come over the control arm underneath the axle using our swivel. And go ahead and tighten that down. You can swing this up. Tap that up into place. Now we went ahead and wire wheeled our bolts here. I'm going to put some anti-seize compound on this and then we'll go ahead and install it. Okay, line up that bolt. Just use a pry bar here to just kind of wiggle it back a little bit. Push that bolt in. Let's go ahead and snug this down. Let's torque the outside nut here to 74 foot-pounds. Tighten this nut to 66 foot-pounds. Tighten down the jam nuts. Want to make sure that those are good and snug. And once you tighten this down, we can go ahead and install our wheel. And then bring the vehicle down to get an alignment. Grab your wheel, line that up. Let's install the lug nuts. Once we get all these installed, we'll go ahead and snug them down. Now our particular vehicle has a wheel lock on it, so we're going to tighten that one first, and we're going to torque it to 76 foot-pounds. Now if your particular vehicle has the center cap, simply go ahead and snap that onto the front, and you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.